Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be a tutorial on this look right here. This is also the look that I was wearing in my past favorites video, and I got a ton of requests, especially from Snapchat, for a tutorial on this. And I was so excited because I just was winging this look whenever I did it that night, and I fell in love with it. I love it even more tonight. Whenever I was filming this look, I just fell in love with it even more. And I'm not someone that loves a ton of color, and this is just perfect. I love it so much. I feel like I'm going to be wearing this look a ton this spring and summer. So if you'd like to see how I got this full look, then just go ahead and keep on watching. So to get started, I am priming my lids with the NYX Jumbo Pencil in the shade Milk, and this is just a pure white pencil. I'm applying this all over the lids, and then I'm going to be blending it out with this Morphe brush. This is great for blending products out like this. This is an E46. And since that base does stay a little bit tacky, I'm just setting that with a little bit of setting powder. And then for the eyeshadows today, I'm using my 35K palette from Morphe. And first, I'm just picking up this light peach shade. And if you are on the darker side, you probably will not even see this on your skin. But for me, since I am so fair, it does give me a nice subtle definition. So I'm just taking that all throughout the crease with a Sigma E40 brush. Now I'm really going to start defining the crease, and I'm almost doing a cut crease for this look, and I'm using a Morphe M519 brush. This is a great brush for doing looks like this, and I just picked up that mid-tone brown, and it does have a little bit more warmth to it, and I am taking this directly into the crease and just keeping that pretty intense all the way throughout the crease area. Now picking up this dark brown shade, I'm doing the same thing that we did with the previous shade, and I'm going right into the crease with that same brush, and I start in the outer corner and then I sweep that all the way to the inner corner, doing more windshield wiper motions and circular motions just so I can stay right into the crease of the eye. And of course, before I go in with the lid shade, I'm just going back over everything with a nice big fluffy brush and making sure there are no harsh lines. For the lids, I'm taking this beautiful champagne shade and I am packing that all over the lid, and I'm using a Luxie 234 brush, and you can see I'm patting this in, and then also whenever I go up to the crease, I'm kind of doing sweeping motions, and I do that so that I can make sure that I get a really nice clean line and keep that definition that we have. Next, I am doing my wing liner, and I'm using a new liner, and this is so good, you guys. I am completely in love with it. It is the NYX Matte Liquid Liner, and it just dries super matte, and it's really, really black, and the felt tip is really easy to use, so I'm officially in love with this one. And then I'm using my MakeupGeek liner in the shade Obsidian. It's just a dark, deep black. And I am doing my tight line with this. And of course, I'm going to be applying some mascara as well as lashes. I'm using my Benefit Rollerlash. And then I'm going to be applying the House of Lashes Iconic Lashes. Once the lashes were on, I just want to give a little bit more definition to the crease, because once you have lashes on, it kind of takes up a little bit more space. So I'm just going in with a small detailer brush. This is an M507 brush from Morphe, and I am just going back in with that dark chocolate shade and giving it a little bit more intensity. Moving on to the face, of course, I'm using my Becca Under Eye Brightening Corrector, and I'm using a Morphe E45 brush so I don't have to dip my finger into the pot, and I'm just applying this underneath my eyes at the darkest parts, so usually closest to my nose and tear duct area, and then blending that out. And then for my concealer, I'm going to be using the Tarte Maracuja Creaseless Concealer in the shade Fair. I'm just applying that with the same brush right over that Becca Corrector, and I really do love this concealer. I think it gives great coverage and it has a nice consistency to it too. So then I am going on my cheeks with a little bit of the Maybelline Fit Me Concealer in Fair, just along the highest points of my cheekbones, and then on the chin, sides of my mouth, center of my nose, and forehead to highlight. This is seriously the best concealer that you can use for highlighting in my opinion, and it's just so affordable. And of course, I'm going to be blending all of that out with my Real Techniques damp sponge. I just love this. And then I'm going to be setting my face with the same sponge. And I'm only setting underneath my eyes because my skin is so dry. I don't really need to set it anywhere else. If you need to, then by all means do that. But I am just setting underneath my eyes with a pretty generous amount to keep it from creasing. To warm up the skin, I'm taking my Chocolate Soleil bronzer from Too Faced and a Morphe M527 brush. This is my favorite bronzing brush, and I am just going around the sides of my face, around the temples, sides of the cheekbones, and then of course I'm going to bronze my neck so that everything matches nicely. And then to contour, I'm using Fawn from the Anastasia contour kit and this Zoeva 126 brush. This has quickly become my favorite contour brush. It's precise without being too harsh, and I just am obsessed. So I'm taking that along my cheekbones, also around the temples and sides of my chin, and then of course I'm going to be contouring my nose. You guys know these are all things that I have to do in every tutorial. And for my contour, I'm using Morphe M514 brush to contour my nose, and then to blend it all out, I am using my M512 brush. These are just a match made in heaven for contouring your nose. For blush, I'm using Milani's Luminoso. This is seriously one of my most used blushes, and I think it's what, like $6, and I've used this so many times and I've never hit pan. And I'm using my favorite blush brush. This is an E4 from Morphe, and then I'm just going over the edges and kind of blending everything out and making sure I don't have any more of that translucent setting powder, and then I am moving on to the eyes. I'm first taking that black liner from MakeupGeek and lining my waterline, and then I'm using this Ideal Duo from Dose of Colors, and these are awesome because it has kind of a primer first. It's a cream product that's the same shade as the pigment, so I'm just running that all along my lower lash line, and then you can see I pat the pigment on top of it, and this seriously doesn't have any fallout. These are just amazing, and I do bring this down pretty far. I really want it to show, and especially with adding mascara on top, you want to bring this down pretty far. Now, of course, load up those lower lashes with some Benefit Rollerlash because it is the best. And then I'm going to be highlighting my eyes with the Starlight Illuminator from Anastasia, and I'm applying that to the inner corners as well as along the brow bone. To highlight my face, I'm using that same Starlight Illuminator plus the So Hollywood highlight from Anastasia as well. And I just swirl this together on my Morphe M501 brush, and then I'm applying that to the highest points of my cheekbones, also on the end of my nose, my chin, and my cupid's bow. For my lips, I'm lining them with this Rommel lip liner in the shade Natural. I feel like I've been using this a ton lately, but it's such a good lip liner. It's basically the same shade as my lips. And then I'm going to be using Bear With Me. This is a liquid lipstick from Dose of Colors. It's a really beautiful kind of peachy nude. And then just because I like a little bit of gloss, I'm going to be adding NYX Creme Brûlée Butter Gloss just in the center of my lips. And once you get that on, your look is complete. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, go ahead and give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you in my next one. Thanks for watching. Bye!